Hello children, how are you all? I hope all of you are safe and fine. Today we are going to start the second chapter in social science. The name of the chapter is Evidences in History. At the end of the session, you will be able to understand the importance of monuments as sources of history. Okay children, so let's start. Before that, I hope all of you have one draft book and pen with you to note down the main points. Okay, let's start. To recollect what all things you studied in the previous session, I will show you a small picture. See this. I know all of you are familiar with this picture. Okay, so what is that picture? What is given there? Who is this person and what does this person do? I know you know the answer and you are saying answers from home. So who is this person? This is the picture, or this is an archaeologist. And what does this person do? You know, archaeologist digs up places to find clues or to find sources or evidences about the people who lived in the past. So that is the work of an archaeologist. So today you are going to study about the evidences in history. So today you are going to study about the evidences in history, or you can say sources in history. Okay, so we'll write it down. Evidences in history or sources in history. So children, you studied that history is the story of the past. History is the true story of the past. Why it is said as a true story? Because it is a true story because there are proofs to show that people lived a long time ago. People lived in the past, and archaeologists found out the sources and historians studied about it, is it? And both these archaeologists and historians worked together as a team to write about the life of the people in the past that you already studied. Today you are going to study about the sources. What do you mean by sources? So children, did you play treasure hunt? The game treasure hunt? Yes, you know. What you have to do in that game? You have to find out that treasure. Is it? So in that game you will get many clues and you have to follow that clues, and at last or at the end you will find out that treasure. That is the process, or that is the thing happening in the game treasure hunt. Happens in treasure hunt. Exactly like that, these sources are the most important findings about history. Sources are the most important findings about history. Okay, so sources are the most important findings about history. The sources are just like clues. What I told you just now about treasure hunt, these are just like clues, and which help archaeologists and historians to find out about the life of the people who lived in the past. Okay, so sources are the most important findings about history. So, how you will define the sources? What do you mean by sources? Yes, sources are the remains of the past that are found out by the archaeologist. So, how do you define sources? Sources are the remains of the past that are found out by the archaeologist. So, one point is sources are the most important findings about history, and the second point is sources are the remains of the past. Sources are the remains of the past that are found out by the archaeologist. Okay, so now you understood what do you mean by sources. Sources are just like clues, and they are the most important findings about history, and they are the remains of the past that are found out by the archaeologist, and with the help of that sources, this archaeologists and historians found out or write about the life of the people who lived in the past. Now I will show you a slide regarding this. See, what are sources? Sources are the most important findings about history. And how do you define the sources? Remains of the past that are found out by the archaeologists are called the sources of history. In that slide, you can see many pictures, many things, that is the example for the sources. See, coins, palaces, see, utensils, writings, paintings, all these are examples for sources. So in that picture, you can see very clearly different types of sources there. Is it like coins, palaces, parts of the utensils, then writings, then paintings, etc. So sources are the remains of the past that are found out by the archaeologist. So I hope this is clear to you. Okay children, so now you understood what do you mean by sources of history. Now, these sources we can divide, or there are two types of sources. We can divide the sources into two types, or you can say there are mainly two types of sources. Okay, and which are the two types of sources? The first one is archaeological sources, and the second one is literary sources. So the first one is archaeological sources, and the second one is literary sources. So sources are of two types. One is archaeological sources, and the second one is literary sources. So let's write it down. Okay. So, sources are of two types. First one, archaeological sources, and second one, literary sources. So, sources are of two types. Which are the two types of sources? One is archaeological sources, and the other one is literary sources. So, first you are going to study about archaeological sources. What do you mean by archaeological sources? What do you mean by archaeological sources? Okay, so archaeological sources are direct sources or direct evidences. Or you can define archaeological sources of history may include the remains of tangible materials from the past. Archaeological sources of the history may include the remains of tangible materials from the past. So now you are thinking, what do you mean by this tangible materials? Is it tangible? The word meaning is something which can be touched and seen. Something which can be touched and seen. Okay. So archaeological sources are direct evidences, or you can say they are the remains of tangible materials from the past. Tangible means something that can be touched or seen. Okay, so now we will write about archaeological sources. They are direct evidences and also they are remains of the tangible materials of the past. Now I will show you a slide regarding this. See. Sources of history, we can divide the history into two types. One is archaeological sources and the other one is literary sources. So today we are going to study about archaeological sources. Here it is given that archaeological sources again divide into four types: monuments, coins, artifacts and inscriptions. Literary sources again divided into religious literature and secular literature. So we will study one by one. So first we are going to study about archaeological sources, and I will show you one more slide. See. Archaeological sources of history may include the remains of tangible materials from the past. Tangible materials from the past. Okay. Archaeological sources may include remains of tangible materials from the past. And I told you, what do you mean by tangible? It is also given there in a blue box. See, something which can be touched and seen. Something which can be touched and seen. Touched and seen. That materials are called tangible materials. So, remains of tangible materials from the past, and tangible means something which can be touched and seen. Okay, and again it is written there, they can be divided into four types. Archaeological sources can be divided into four types, and which are the four types written there? They are monuments, coins, artifacts and inscriptions. And today we will see about monuments in detail. Okay, so children, now I think it is clear what do you mean by archaeological sources. Yes, archaeological sources are direct evidences, and archaeological sources of history may include the remains of what materials? Tangible materials of the past. And what do you mean by tangible materials? Yes, something which can be touched and seen. And these archaeological sources divided into four. And which are the four types? One is monument, coins, artifacts and inscriptions. And now we will see one by one. First we are going to see about monuments. Now I will show you a slide regarding that. See. So, monuments. The first archaeological source, monuments. So, monuments you know. You already studied about monuments in 3rd standard, is it? You already studied about monuments in 3rd standard, and you know what do you mean by this monuments, is it? Monuments historical importance. And you know, these monuments were constructed in the past. And they give a lot of knowledge about the people or about the lives of the people who lived in the past. So, monuments are building and structures of historical importance, and it tells us about the period in which they were built, the reason for building them, and the people who built them. So, by seeing these monuments, we will get the answer of these three questions. Okay, who built it? In which period they were built? And why did they build it? So, the monuments tells us about the period in which they were built, the reason for building them, and the people who built them. Okay, so monuments. Now we'll write it on the board. Monuments. See. See, monuments are buildings or structures of historical importance, or you can say historical buildings or structures. Monuments are historical buildings or structures, and they were constructed in the past. And they gives us a lot of information about the people or the lives of the people who lived in the past. And it also tells us about the period in which they were built, the reason for building them, and the people who built them. So, it tells us three important factors. The first one, the period in which they were built. The second one, the reason for building them. And the third one, the people who built them, or the person who built them. So now you understood what do you mean by monuments. Okay, now I will show you that same slide. See the examples for which are the different types of monuments. See in the slide you can clearly see that. See the statues, sculptures, forts, places of worship, temples, palaces, tombs, all these are examples for monuments. See, you can see the pictures. Clearly. All these are examples for monuments. Okay, children. So now you understood what do you mean by monuments. Okay, so monuments, they are the historical buildings or structures which were constructed in the past, and it tells us about three important factors. The period in which they were built, the reason for building them, and the people who built them. They give us knowledge or information about the lives of the people who lived in the past. Okay, and examples also, you know, the fort, palaces, statues, tombs, all these are examples for monuments. Now we are going to study about three important monuments in our country. Three important monuments in our country in a little bit detail. One by one we will study. So, I think all these things you have studied in 3rd standard. So, it is easy for you. Okay, and the first one is Taj Mahal. I know all of you have heard this term Taj Mahal. Is it? Taj Mahal. So, first we are going to study about Taj Mahal. The first monument, Taj Mahal. And you know who built Taj Mahal? Yes, the Taj Mahal was built by Emperor Shah Jahan in the memory of his wife Mumtaz Mahal after her death. Is it? Memory of his wife Mumtaz Mahal. It is actually a tomb in the memory of his wife Mumtaz Mahal. Is it? It is a very beautiful building. It is a very beautiful building. I will show you the picture now. See. See, Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal was built by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan. Taj Mahal was built by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan. And why Shah Jahan built this Taj Mahal? Yes, he built Taj Mahal in the memory of his wife Mumtaz Mahal. And where is this Taj Mahal located? Yes, you know that. It is located on the banks of river Yamuna. It is located in Agra on the banks of river Yamuna. And it was built as a tomb for Mumtaz Mahal, wife of Shah Jahan. And you know children, it took 20,000 workers and 22 years to complete the construction of this Taj Mahal. And it is decorated with beautiful and precious stones. And it is made of white marble. The entire Taj Mahal is made of white marble. It is decorated with precious stones, and the walls of the Taj Mahal is decorated with beautifully carved floral paintings. Okay, so that building is very beautiful, and it is built by Emperor Shah Jahan in the memory of his wife Mumtaz Mahal, and because of that Taj Mahal is a symbol of love, beauty and perfection. So Taj Mahal is a symbol of love, beauty and perfection. See, you can see the picture of Taj Mahal there. You can see the picture of Mumtaz and the Emperor Shah Jahan, and the fourth one is the tomb. In the middle tomb is that Mumtaz, and that side, that is left side, the tomb, it was the tomb of Shah Jahan, and it was very beautiful. It is a very beautiful building, white in color, made of white marbles with precious stones, and it is a symbol of love, beauty and perfection. Okay children, I hope this is clear to you. This is the first monument you studied is Taj Mahal. Okay, so Taj Mahal built by Shah Jahan in the memory of his wife Mumtaz, and it is located in Agra on the banks of river Yamuna. It was built as a tomb for Mumtaz Mahal, his wife, and it is a symbol of love, beauty and perfection. Okay, it is clear. Now coming to the next one, that is Red Fort. That also you studied in 3rd standard. I know, that is why I am not going to very much detail about it. You studied all these things in 3rd standard. So you just need little bit description. Okay, see, second one is Red Fort. Now I'll write it down here. Now, I will show you a slide regarding this. See, Red Fort. That name itself it is there, is it? Red Fort or the Lal Killa. Lal means the Hindi word for red. So, the Red Fort is also known as Lal Killa, and it is in Delhi. It is located in Delhi, and it was also built by Emperor Shah Jahan. It was also built by Emperor Shah Jahan, and it is made of red sandstone. It is made of red sandstone. That is why it is known as Red Fort. And earlier, before this Lal Killa, this Red Fort was earlier known as Kile-e-Mubarak, that means the blessed fort. But later, they changed the name to Lal Killa Red Fort. Now it is known as Red Fort. Okay, so the Red Fort or the Lal Killa is in Delhi, It was also built by Emperor Shah Jahan. It is made of red stone, red sandstone. It is made of red sandstone. And there is a speciality for this red fort. See, every year on the Independence Day, the Prime Minister hoists the national flag and delivers a message from the Red Fort. I think you have seen this in the TV. Last Independence Day also you have seen this. We will get the live telecast on that day. Every year, Independence Day, Prime Minister hoists the national flag and delivers a message from the Red Fort. So that is the importance of Red Fort in the present day, present situation, is it? So it was built by Emperor Shah Jahan. It is made of red stone and it is situated in Delhi. Okay, children. Now I hope the second monument, description about second monument is also clear to you. Which is the second one you studied? Red Fort. It was also built by Emperor Shah Jahan. It is made of red sandstone and it is located in Delhi. And as I told you, every year Independence Day, on the Independence Day, the Prime Minister hoists the national flag and delivers a message from the Red Fort. Okay, now this is clear to you. Now coming to the third one, that is Qutb Minar. Which is the third one? Qutb Minar. Third one, first one Taj Mahal, second one Red Fort, and the third one Qutb Minar. Now I will show you a slide related with this. See, Qutb Minar. You can see the picture of Qutb Minar there. See, it is a very big, very tall stone tower. It is considered, or it is the tallest stone tower in India. Qutb Minar is the tallest stone tower in India. Okay, and you know children, the construction of the Qutb Minar was started by the Delhi Sultan Qutbuddin Aibak. It was started by Qutbuddin Aibak, but due to his early death, he was not able to complete the work or the construction of this Qutb Minar. It was completed by his successor Iltutmish. So this Qutb Minar, two kings or two emperors were related with the construction of this Qutb Minar. One was Qutbuddin Aibak, who started the work of this Qutb Minar, but he died due to his early death. It was completed by his successor Iltutmish, and you can see the pictures of Qutbuddin Aibak and Iltutmish there, and the picture of this Qutb Minar also. Is it? So it is the tallest stone tower in India. Okay children, so this much is clear. Now we will just go to a recap. What all things, summary. We will summarize what all things we have studied. I'll show you one more slide. See, summary. See, the first thing you studied in this session is what do you mean by sources? Yes, you studied remains of the past are found out by the archaeologists are called sources. And again you studied sources are the important findings about history. And the second thing you studied, the sources can be divided into two. One is archaeological sources and the other one is literary sources. And archaeological sources again divided into four, that is monuments, coins, inscriptions and artifacts. And out of that, we studied about monuments too. Is it? Monuments are historical buildings or structures constructed in the past, and it tells us about the period in which they built, the people who built them and the reason for building them. And again you studied about three important monuments in India. The first one you studied is Taj Mahal, second one Red Fort, and the third one is Qutb Minar. Okay children, so I hope everything is clear to you. Okay, now I will show you a slide of worksheet. See, today the worksheet, it is a true or false section, that is write true or false. Okay, I have given only two questions. One is history is the true story of the present. Okay children, the first question is history is the true story of the present. Listen to the question carefully and please write the answer. Second one, sources are the most important findings about history. Only two questions are there. You can just copy it down to the notebook and you can just write the answer also. Okay, and the next one I'll show you a slide of assignment. See, there one picture is given there. What is the question given there? Identify this picture. And the second one, write a short note about it. So you have to identify this picture and you have to write a short note about it, maybe 4 or 5 sentences, that is enough. But both you have to write it in your notebook, and if possible you can paste a picture of this monument in your notebook. If possible, it is not a compulsory work. If possible, you can paste a picture of this monument in the picture, then write the name of this monument and write a short note about it. Okay children? So I hope this session, whatever I have taken in this session, it is clear to you. So let's wind up this session children. Thank you.